Every map has an edge. Every map ends somewhere. And beyond that ending, the cartographer wrote, "Here there be monsters." The Norse sailor looked at those words and thought, "Good. That is exactly where I am going." Here there be monsters, yes indeed. That is the address that I need. The place where the known world runs dry, and only the willing dare apply. For the crossing, the westward, the beyond, the off the map, the out of bond of everything the careful minds have drawn with their instruments and their careful dawn of classification of the named and filed. I want the unclassified, the wild, the unrecorded, the not yet described, the coast that has not yet been scribed into the ledger of the safe and known. I want to stand somewhere alone that has never had a man's boot print, and I want to leave one and be in it. Not reckless, hear me, not the fool's errand, not the death wish dressed in navigator's clothes, but the specific and the clearly warranted compulsion of the one who already knows that the edge of the map is not the edge of the world, that the last line drawn is not the last coast, that the horizon is a curtain only furled, and the sailor's job is simply to get close enough to see what it conceals. Beyond the edge of maps, the world keeps going. Beyond the edge of maps, the sea keeps flowing. Beyond the last recorded, the last named. Beyond the edge of maps, the unproclaimed. Coast waits patient, green already whole.
Beyond the edge of maps, the sailor's soul
has always known this, always understood.
Beyond the edge of maps is where we could
have stayed and didn't and will go again.
Beyond the edge of maps,
there is no end. I have been told the sea is a grave. I have been told the north is too far. I have been told only the desperate and the brave and foolish dare to follow a dead star. Into the dark, into the open, nothing. I have been told the sensible stay home. I smile at this, not mocking, not rebuking. I smile because the sensible don't know what the open water gives back to the one who trusts it fully, what the crossing costs and what it leaves you with when you are done. You cannot buy with everything you've crossed towards safety. It is the opposite of safety. It is the particular and full alive of being somewhere that is only lately discovered by the fact of your arrive. Not arrive, arrive, the present tense, the constant arriving of the open water, the ongoing, the present, the immense perpetual first morning. Every quarter turn of the horizon, everywhere you look is new, has not been looked at quite this way by any eye, from any hand or book, by any other hull on any other day. Not reckless, hear me, not the fool's errand, not the death wish dressed in navigator's clothes, but the specific and the clearly warranted compulsion of the one who already knows that the edge of the map is not the edge of the world, that the last line drawn is not the last coast, that the horizon is a curtain only furled, and the sailor's job is simply to get close enough to see what it conceals. Beyond the edge of maps, the world keeps going. Beyond the edge of maps, the sea keeps flowing. Beyond the last recorded, the last named. Beyond the edge of maps, the unproclaimed. Coast waits patient, green already whole.
Beyond the edge of maps, the sailor's soul
has always known this, always understood.
Beyond the edge of maps is where we could
have stayed and didn't and will go again.
Beyond the edge of maps,
there is no end. Here is what I know. After 10 years on the water, the world wants to be found. Not taken, not possessed, not conquered, shorter, ended, just found, turned around, and seen clearly in its full reality by the eyes of the one willing enough to cross the ordinary, the banality of the known, and find the rough and extraordinary ordinary of a coast at sunrise that no one else has seen at sunrise, the extraordinary of a river that has never introduced itself to anyone from the east. And here it is, and here we are, and this is the exchange. We see it and it sees us, and the quiz of existence has its simplest and most strange answer. In this moment we are here, the world is here, we find each other in the open water, past the fear, past the map's last line, past every other reason not to come. We find, we touch the shore that waited without knowing it was waiting, and the meaning such as there is in the going. Always only in the going. So here there be monsters, yes, I'll take it. Here there be the unknown, I'll go there. Here there be the unrecorded, I will make it. The recorded, I will bring back what is rare. And when I draw the line on the new map, I will draw it only to the edge of where I went, and leave the reed. He was exiled from Norway for manslaughter. He was exiled from Iceland for manslaughter. Both times he sailed west. Both times he found something new. Some men are too large for the places that contain them. The world kept making him more room. Exile came at 23. A blood feud settled in the old way blade. They sent me from the shores of Norway into the western cold, and I was not afraid. I found Iceland settled, built my hall. I built a farm, a family, a name, but the blood in me was not designed to fall into the docile, and the trouble came. Again, a neighbor, an insult, a response that my grandfather's blood demanded pay. They called the thing, they measured the response, and said 3 years exile, go away. I stood before the council, said nothing. I took my ships and crew and sailed west into the open water, past the nothing of the known, and took Odin's test. The exile always finds what exile needs. The man who cannot fit the frame provided goes out past it, and the world concedes that something larger needed room decided to make it. In the white of the unknown, beyond the map, beyond the lost speaker's reach, the exile finds his home and calls it his own, and the world eventually learns to teach itself to say the name he gave the place. Erik the Red, the name before the exile. Erik the Red, the fire before the trial. Greenland, he called it green to draw the settlers. Greenland, a salesman's name, a bright unfettered promise of a land worth sailing toward. Greenland, part true, part Northman's word for making the unbearable appealing. Erik the Red, the founding and the feeling of being the first man to winter in a place and decide, this is mine, this is my space. Of Greenland Vinland rose from the horizon, a wall of white, the ice cap vast and cold. But the southern fjords past the icing rising into something green, something that could hold a settlement, a farm, the hardy sheep that Norse brought everywhere the Norse went. The summer's short but real, the winter's deep but survivable, and I was content. I wintered there alone with my small crew. I mapped the coast, I named every fjord. I came back to Iceland with what I knew, and stood before the ones who could afford a ship and said, there is a land green to the west, vast, empty, ready, come. And those who saw the spark in what I mean by green took the leap. 200 some ships sailed, 25 made the crossing, 14 arrived, the others lost to storm or turned back. The tossing of the sea demanding half the cost of every new world. Always the crossing always takes its toll, but those who land begin again. That is the art of crossing. You arrive with only what you had planned. The exile always finds what exile needs. The man who cannot fit the frame, provided pulls out past it, and the world concedes that something larger needed room decided to make it. In the white of the unknown, beyond the map, beyond the law speaker's reach, the exile finds his home and calls it his own, and the world eventually learns to teach itself to say the name he gave the place. Erik the Red, the name before the exile. Erik the Red, the fire before the trial. Greenland, he called it green to draw the settlers. Greenland, a salesman's name, a bright unfettered promise of a land worth sailing toward. Greenland, part true, part Northman's word for making the unbearable appealing. Erik the Red, the founding and the feeling of being the first man to entering a place and decide, this is mine, this is my space. History gives the glory to the sun, to Leif, who sailed the further west. But the father made the sun, and what was done by Leif was built on everything the rest. Of Erik's life it taught the blood to do. Go where there is no map. Trust the ship, trust the crew. And when the world says stop, close the gap between the exile and the destination. With the full force of everything you are, the banishment becomes the foundation of the thing you're going to build. However far from the place that threw you out, however cold the new shore when you land, the exile is the shout of the world making room for what it had not planned. Erik the Red, the name before the exile. Erik the Red, the fire before the trial. Greenland, the green, the gamble, the claim. Erik the Red, who gave the cold world a name. Erik the Red, exiled twice and still. Erik the Red, who bent to no one's will, found the space the world forgot to fence. Erik the Red, the first, the red, the immense. He did not sail to Vinland. His horse threw him the day the ships departed. He said, this is not meant for me. He stayed in Greenland. He died in Greenland. He was buried there, somewhere in the green of the southern fjord. The red man rests in the green land. No map, let that word settle in your chest. No chart drawn by another hand before. No one who had been here, no addressed directions to the other side, no shore. Described in detail only the accounts of a man named Johnny who turned back, who saw the green and counted the amounts of courage he did not have and went back. I had the stars, the ones my father named when I was small, and the sky was the whole world. Before the world had borders, before the framed and fenced and owned, before the map was furled into the neat and knowable, before anyone had drawn a line and said, beyond this point is nothing, there is no more. I had the stars and everything they said. Polaris fixed above the northern rim, the sun's arc lower, longer, further west. The way the birds flew toward the fading dim of evening, all of it, the compass, the test. Navigate by stars when the world runs out. Navigate by stars when the maps run out. Navigate by what the sky has always known. Navigate by stars and go alone into the nothing that is not nothing, into the blue that holds the other green. Navigate by stars. Keep going past everything to what has not been seen. Sunstone solarstein in cloudy skies, a crystal that reveals the sun's position. Through overcast, through the gray disguise of northern weather, through the blind condition of sailing when the stars are out of sight. I held it to the sky and watched the glow polarize along the axis, found the light behind the clouds, and now I know which way is west, which way the coast extends beyond the gray horizon's lying line. The sunstone does not guess, it comprehends the physics of the light, the sky's design. I have crossed 3 weeks of open water, using only the stone, the stars, the birds, the color of the seas, increasing matter, the smell of land before it, the unheard but felt arrival of the shallow ground beneath the hull, the change of current slight, the way the wave pattern shifts around a landmass somewhere just beyond the night. Polaris fixed above the northern rim, the sun's arc lower, longer, further west. The way the birds flew toward the fading dim of evening, all of it, the compass, the test. Navigate by stars when the world runs out. Navigate by stars when the maps run out. Navigate by what the sky has always known. Navigate by stars and go alone into the nothing that is not nothing, into the blue that holds the other green. Navigate by stars. Keep going past everything to what has not been seen. The scholars of the south had their instruments, their astrolabes and their careful calculation. The Norse had something older, the intents of a body trained to read without translation. The guts, the skin, the inner ear, the eye, trained to catch the gradient of the swell, trained to read the ceiling of the sky, trained to know what only sailors know to tell themselves. That feeling is a kind of knowing that the body holds a map. The mind forgot that every cell has a compass, always showing toward the place that has not been reached, but not yet reached is not the same as unreachable. Not yet seen is not the same as hidden. Every coast was once unteachable, until the first keel arrived unbidden. Navigate by stars when the world runs out. Navigate by stars when the maps run out. Navigate by what the sky has always known. Navigate by stars and go alone nothing that is not nothing to the blue that holds the other green. Navigate by star. Keep going past everything to what has not been seen. On the 31st morning, he saw the birds flying west. Not seabirds, land birds. He followed them. 3 hours later, the coast appeared. He did not name it yet. He only stood at the prow and looked at it for a very long time. She was not a vessel. She was not timber and iron nail. She was the extension of the man who built her. She bent in the wave because she was alive. The Norse did not sail the sea. They became it. The keel was cut from a single oak that stood 100 years before my birth. My grandfather watched it grow and spoke its name before we took it from the earth. The strakes were overlapped like scales of fish, the way a living thing protects itself. Not rigid, not the brittle iron dish of something dead, but supple, like a self that bends without the breaking, finds the give inside the force that tries to split it wide. She was designed not just to float, to live, to move the way a creature moves with pride. I ran my hand along her finished hull the morning of the first sail before dawn, and felt the grain beneath my palm, the full vibration of a thing that would go on longer than the man who shaped her sides, longer than the name carved on her prow. She was the kind of thing that time decides to keep, and I was only her. And now, cast the mooring, feel the current take her, let the tide make the decision for the first mile. Every sea she crosses only makes her more herself, more worthy of the trial. The longship breathes beneath the morning gray, the longship breathes and bends the wave away. She is not fighting, she is reading, feeling every shift of water, every ceiling of the sky. She reads the clouds and swell. She knows the sea the way the living know the bell of instinct. The longship breathes and I am just a man inside, along for the ride. At 30 knots before a northern gale, she comes alive in ways the calm concealed. The ribs flex in a rhythm like a whale, swimming, not a structure, but revealed as something with a heartbeat in the deep. The timber speaks in groans the crew can hear, not breaking, nothing to repair, just speech, the language of a hull in her full gear. I have stood at the prow in open water, 3 days from any coastline, any land, and felt the solitude and then the after feeling that the sea was not unmanned. That something vast and cold and horizontal was fully, completely paying attention to this small sliver, almost infinitesimal, crossing it with purpose and intention. Cast the mooring, feel the current take her, let the tide make the decision for the first mile. Every sea she crosses only makes her more herself, more worthy of the trial. The longship breathes beneath the morning gray, the longship breathes and bends the wave away. away. She is not fighting, she's reading, feeling every shift of water, every ceiling of the sky. She reads the clouds and swell. She knows the sea the way the living know the bell of instinct. The longship breathes and I am just the man inside, along for the ride. The Romans built their ships of rigid pride, thick hulls against the wave, resistance, force. The Norse built something that stepped inside the sea and made the ocean its own course. There is a lesson in the engineering that the North already understood before. The scholars named it that the persevering is not the rigid, but the supple core. The thing that survives the ocean is not the thing that refuses to bend. It is the thing with enough devotion to the journey to flex and still not end. So when the wave comes, and it always comes, higher than the mast, colder than the bone, the longship does not fight it. She becomes the shape the wave demands and moves on home. She carried us to Iceland and to more. She carried us to Greenland and the West. She carried us to an unnamed shore and set us down and passed the final test of what a ship is. Not the floating only, but the arriving with the never seen, the being present for the extraordinary lonely moment of the coast that had never been crossed before by anyone like us, by any keel from the side of the sea. She put us there without complaint, without fuss, just a longship doing what a longship should be. The longship breathes beneath the morning gray. The longship breathes and bends the wave away. She is not fighting, she is reading, feeling every shift of water, every ceiling of the sky. She reads the clouds and swell. She knows the sea the way the living know the bell of instinct. The longship breathes and I'm just the man inside, along for the ride. When she finally broke apart on that last shore, old timber, old nails, old oak returning to the earth, I sat beside her for a long time. I said, you carried us well. I said, you carried us everywhere. I said, rest now. The grain said nothing, but I felt it, still breathing. It became it. It came from the northwest without announcement. No change in the color of the sky, no shift of wind that gave a full accounting of what was building. It arrived and I was at the prow when the first wave struck. The longship sideways, 40 feet of gray and white, and the cold mass of the unluck of being in its path that specific day, in that specific patch of the open water. 3 days from Iceland, 5 from anywhere, the kind of distance that the storm makes shorter between the living and the everywhere. Else, the kind of cold that occupies the body past the skin into the deep of muscle, past the will, the kind that ties the hands into a grip they cannot keep. The oars are useless, pull them in and tie them. The sail is down, the mast braced against the wall of water. Every man lashed tight beside him to something fixed, and we wait for the squall to do what squalls do, pass or take us. There is no third option in this ocean, no clever move, no skill that overtakes this. The storm is what it is, pure, total, open. The storm between worlds, no land in sight. The storm between worlds, day becomes night. The sea becomes a vertical architecture of everything that humans are not the feature of. We are the guest we always were. The sea permits the crossing or it doesn't. The storm between worlds, the cold and blur of what survival actually is and isn't a guarantee. It is a conversation between the ship and the sea, and we wait for the verdict of the storm's decision on our particular fate. By the second day the mast had cracked at the base. The forestay snapped at dawn. 3 men were working, constantly attacked by every wave to keep the hull from gone. I will tell you what no saga mentions in the clean retelling of the storm survived. The fear, the full and undistracted tension of the body that wants fiercely to be alive. Not the noble fear, not the warrior's fire, not the kind that makes a speech before the shield wall. Just the animal, the base desire to not be this cold, to not be this small. Against this much gray, against this much nothing but wave and dark and the sound of the hull. In distress, against the full and crushing realization that the ocean is full of its own agenda, and we are not even a footnote in its consideration. Just a temporary and forgettable dot of timber on the surface of its duration. The oars are useless, pull them in and tie them. The sail is down, the mast braced against the wall of water. Every man lashed tight beside him to something fixed, and we wait for the squall to do what squalls do, pass or take us. There is no third option in this ocean, no clever move, no skill that overtakes this. The storm is what it is, pure, total, open. The storm between worlds, no land in sight. The storm between worlds, day becomes night. The sea becomes a vertical architecture of everything that humans are not the feature of. We are the guest we always were. The sea permits the crossing or it doesn't. The storm between worlds, the cold and blur of what survival actually is and isn't a guarantee. It is a conversation between the ship and the sea, and we wait for the verdict of the storm's decision on our particular fate. On the third morning it stopped, not gradually, not the slow unwinding. It stopped the way a held breath drops, and the silence after was the most blinding thing I have ever experienced. More absolute than the storm itself, more quiet than anything that preceded the crossing, the silence of the self. After the storm, when the body understands it is still here, still whole, still breathing, and the hands unclench and the hands are shaking, and the air feels like receiving a gift you did not earn. Just the continuance of what you were, the simple continuation. The ocean's brief and arbitrary ordinance. Not today, go reach your destination. We repair the mast with what we carried. We stitched the sail, we ate what the salt had spared. We looked at each other and we tarried on nothing, just the facts that we were there. Still in the ship, still above the water, still pointing west, still pointing toward the land that would appear, it always does, the after of the storm, the coast beneath the hand of the All-Father, or the sea's mercy, or the oak's quality, or our own still, or all of it together. The controversy of survival is, it never is just will. It is will and would and weather reading, and the timing of the thing that mercy of the pattern of that storm on that day, in that ocean that passed 6 miles to our north and left us in its wake, shaken, not broken, still breathing, still sailing, still just us. The storm between the storm between. It came from the northwest without announcement, no change in the color of the sky, no shift of wind that gave a full accounting of what was building. It arrived and died. Was it the prow when the first wave struck? The longship sideways 40 feet of gray and white in the cold mass of the undercover beach. No one had stood here before us, no hand had touched this stone, no language had been spoken for us to arrive to. We were alone, in the purest sense of alone, the first of our kind in this place. No echo of a familiar tone, in the tree line, in the open space. The birds were different, I noticed that first. Different songs, different wing shape in the sky. The trees were wider, the undergrowth burst with a green that the north doesn't supply. The river was cold, same as home. The fish were there, same run as home, but different. The particular hue of the foam, the particular weight of the stone. In my hand, a different stone, a continent that had its own geology, its own deep time before our intent had even reached it. It had its own. I am the first pair of eyes from the east to look at this hill, this tree, this coast. I am the temporary and the least of what this land is, and I am its host of a moment, just a moment in its long uninterrupted life before we came. I am the visitor, I do not belong to this place. It belonged before I named the western shore, where the east meets the new, the western shore, under a different blue of sky. The same sky, but the angle different. The western shore, the crossing, the sufficient proof that the world is larger than the knowing. The western shore, where the Norse were going when the east ran out of coast to find. The western shore was always in the mind. We spent the winter in the structures built from the timber of these unfamiliar trees. We learned the sounds, we felt no guilt for being here. Just the clarity of the freeze that told us you can survive here, you can build here, you can stay. The land does not reject you. The severe cold of winter is the same across the way of ocean, just a different direction of the same cold that we understand. The fish spoke to us the same instruction as the fjord, the forest to the hand. Felt like forest, the deer different, larger, the bear different, larger. The particular abundance of this coast, a broader range of what the land can offer. I thought of home, I thought of the familiar smell of the smokehouse, the hall at night. And this coast asked me, what is the particular difference between the familiar and the right? What if right is here? What if right is the unfamiliar with enough time? What if every home was once a first night on a coast that asked you to define what a home means past the accident of where you happen to be born? What if home is where the will was sent by everything that made you forward worn toward this coast, this particular, this western shore of a world without a Norse name yet? What if this is the answer to the question of where the blood was always meant to get? I am the first rise from the east. To look at this hill, this tree, this coast, I am the temporary and the least of what this land is, and I am its host of a moment, just a moment in its long uninterrupted life before we came. I am the visitor, I do not belong to this place, it belonged before I name. The western shore, where the east meets the new, the western shore, under a different blue of sky, the same sky, but the angle different. The western shore, the crossing, the sufficient proof that the world is larger than the knowing. The western shore, where the Norse were going when the east ran out of coast to find. The western shore was always in the mind. We left, the sagas are honest about this. We left because the distance was too long. We left because the people were too populous. We left, but leaving does not mean we were wrong to come. It means we came and came back. That is the sailor's relationship with coast. Not the conqueror's permanent attack, but the finding, the returning, the toast to what was found and what was left standing. The coast remains as it always did. Before us, our leaving was not abandoning, it was the sailor's discipline. You did what you came to do. You saw the new shore, you proved it was there. You brought the proof home, you leave it as you found it, and more. You leave it with its own name and your own. The western shore, where the east meets the new. The western shore, under a different blue of sky, the same sky, but the angle different. The western shore, the crossing, the sufficient proof that the world is larger than the known. The western shore, the furthest we have gone. The western shore is in the blood and bone of every sailor, every navigator, everyone who stood at the edge and looked west. They left it there, the coast, the vines, the white trees. They sailed back east with the proof in the hull. 5 centuries passed, the coast waited, as it always had, as it always would. Son of Erik the Red, son of Thorvald. The year approximately 1000 AD. The place, a coast no European had ever set foot upon. He called it Vinland, 500 years before Columbus. The sagas remembered, history eventually caught up. Grapes were the first sign growing wild along the coast where no vine should exist. At this latitude, were the autumn mild enough to keep them rising through the mist. Leif walked inland from the beach, longship he moved through trees unlike the northern pine. Through something vast and green, a different script of forest, heavy, warm, a different line of latitude than anything his bloodline had ever walked upon. A different sun that hung more south, a different skyline that curved more wide, a different one of everything, and none of it named yet, none of it mapped, none of it claimed, none of it placed inside the cabin of the known. It was entirely unnamed. He did not plant a flag that came from others. He did not claim the sky or claim the ground. He only walked among the trees like brothers walking in a forest, and he found that the world was larger than the saga, larger than the hall and the mead and the north, larger than the was worth. Vinland, the Vineland, the West Shore. Vinland, where the grapes grew in more. A continent that had no name in the Norse tongue. A world entire and already young. Vinland, Leif stood at the edge of the known. Vinland, and he did not turn home. He stayed the winter, built the long houses, stayed. Vinland, the first, the found, the unafraid. Thorfinn Karlsefni came after 3 ships full of settlers, men and women. The attempt to make it permanent, to pull a colony from the wild, exempt from the long sail home, a new branch of the Norse world reaching west. They built it Landsok's meadows, the ranch of the attempt. They tried their best. For 3 years the Skrellings were the word they used for those they found already living on the land. The first contact the herd and not understood language. The giving and taking that went poorly, as it does when 2 worlds collide at the shoreline. Before the language, before any because is established, only the contested line. They left Karlsefni, took his family home, took the timber, took the grapevine's fruit, left the long houses, left the open loam, and sailed back north, and did not dispute that the land remained, that it would always be there, that the Skrellings were too many, that the distance was too far for always, and the colony would cost 2 penny. He did not plant a flag that came from others. He did not claim the sky or claim the ground. He only walked among the trees like brothers, walking in a forest, and he found that the world was larger than the saga, larger than the hall and the mead and the north, larger than the oldest Edda, larger than everything that he was worth. Vinland, the Vineland, the West Shore. Vinland, where the grapes grew in more. A continent that had no name in the Norse tongue. A world entire and already young. Vinland, Leif stood at the edge of the known. Vinland, and he did not turn home. He stayed the winter, built the long houses, stayed. Vinland, the first, the found, the unafraid. 500 years before the ships of Spain, the Norse left iron nails in Newfoundland stone. 500 years before the claim, the foot had already been alone. On the shore that history then forgot, or chose to attribute to another name. The sagas held the truth, but truth is not enough without the louder voice of fame. But we were there, the sagas say it clear. We walked the Vineland and we built the hall. We held a winter and we held our fear, and left on our own terms, and that was all. Not failure, not defeat, a calculation that the crossing was too long. The people too already living there in full occupation of their world, and we had ours. We knew when to go and how to leave with dignity. That is the thing the sagas understood. Not every shore is yours, not every sea leads to a place where staying is the good. Vinland, the Vineland, the West Shore. Vinland, where the grapes grew in more. A continent that had no name in the Norse tongue. A world entire and already young. Vinland, remember the name before the names. Vinland, remember the fire before the flames of the later telling. We were there, we were first. Vinland was ours for one good winter at Landsok's meadows, Newfoundland. The ruins are still there. Norse iron nails, Norse carpentry, a Norse spindle hall, meaning a woman was there. The sagas were right. They were always right.